I have downloaded the legendary trash tier video game that is League of Legends 2 times in my life. Once was in 2014, because a cute champion was released, and the second time, again, was just 2 months ago, because a cute champion was released. But like, seriously, the first time I saw Lillia, it was over. I love her so much, my little Scottish centaur princess. So here I was, staring in awe at her Spirit Blossom skin, and when that little first cosplay spark hit me, I was honestly terrified. I needed to cosplay her, but I had no clue how I was going to do that. So I guess the only thing to do is learn. I just graduated college and the lack of structure and routine is really starting to get to me. Animal Crossing alone is not a schedule. So I think a long-term project to work on is really going to give my quarantine days some sense of purpose. I'm hoping to turn this entire Odyssey of a cosplay project into a video series to document my progress, because I can tell it's going to take quite a few months. This video is an introduction and outlines my plans for multiple parts of the costume, as well as double as a roadmap for the videos in this series. So let's get to some planning. So one of the good things about cosplaying from a video game is that you get really nice detailed turnarounds like this, but a bad thing from cosplaying from a video game is, so this is the in-game character model for Spirit Blossom Lillia. This is a sort of drawing for a event where she was featured simultaneous to the game. And then this is the splash art for the skin that you see like when you would buy it. These are not all the same. For example, I think in the splash art, her hair definitely looks, to me at least, very white. Like, there's like the very dynamic lighting here, obviously, but to me, her hair looks white. And then here, her hair looks multicolor, like mostly still white, maybe just with some iridescent, like, things interweaved. It just has like a luminescence, but it's definitely not plain white. And then her hair is blue! What is happening? Throughout this process, I've just been looking at all of these arts next to each other and trying to pick the parts about which versions that I like the best, basically, to decide what I want to incorporate into the costume. So, we must address the horse butt in the room. The most obvious part of this cosplay is the centaur body, which I do intend to make. Obviously, the best way to do this would be to use the marvelous Ginny D's Centaur of Attention book, which is a completely detailed instruction booklet on how to make a centaur body that actually walks with you. So I already have purchased that and have looked through it, and I will be using it to do this costume. I'm super excited about it. But yeah, so this is horse. But this is definitely one whole part. It includes like the skeleton of such thing, like the upholstery of covering it, the tail, and probably the pants that I wear with the costume. I'll also say that the one thing that I have like commissioned for this costume, at least so far, and what I intend to commission, is some horse feet. I hate saying this. Basically, I already ordered hoof shoes because footwear is not something I want to mess with. And especially with this, where they're supposed to look like jointed horse feet, I was not about to pretend like I knew how to make those in such a way they wouldn't break after walking several steps in them. So I've already ordered those, and hopefully they'll be here around the time I'm ready to start working on the horse skeleton, because I can't actually make the skeleton until I know how tall I am in the shoes. So the next part is the wig and the ears. I definitely like this version of the wig the best. I really think that I like that it is like a beautiful light, silvery, luminescent color more than there's this plain blue or white. Also, this, if you see this loop looks like it's going from the front to the back of her head when this loop looks like it's going from side to side. You see what I mean? There's just little stuff. I'm definitely going with this version. And also we're making the ears. They're very large. These are some no joke large ears that I have to make. It should be simple. I think I'll probably do this second. But yeah, so this is part 2 of this costume. Part 3 is the horns. Now, this doesn't seem like a thing to be a big enough part on its own, but so in this version, and maybe it's just me, but especially compared to the other versions of her horns, these look very like luminescent to me. Like they're kind of like shiny and like see-through, like opaque, or not opaque, translucent. They're kind of translucent. And the first thing I thought of when I saw these horns were beautiful, sparkly, translucent resin horns that I see for sale on Etsy. Now, resin is something that I also don't necessarily know a lot about or want to deal with. I did try reaching out to a couple of sellers of resin horns like this to see if they would make some for me custom, but I never got a response. So since this is something that I'm really set on, just because I think it'll look so beautiful to have these like just sort of sparkly, like iridescent, beautiful, clear horns, I am going to figure out how to make that myself. And the thing is that I know is that these need to happen first, because resin, in my multiple days of research, you need to work with it at a certain temperature, and the temperature is hot, and it's fall, and it's going to start getting colder and colder. So I better do it now before I need to start literally heating up my house to do this effectively. So the next part is let's loosely call this a kimono. This is, the Spirit Blossom event was like very obviously like Japan inspired, and having studied kimono and stuff, you can see the sort of like hallmarks of that there. Like there's definitely like an obijime here, which is like the rope that ties around the obi as like a decorative thing, and then there's like this pretty bow in the front, and in the back, interestingly enough, I didn't have that turnaround here, but I'll try to put a photo of it. There's like there's like a piece of fabric that's against the small of her back that you would see in kimono to sort of flatten out the figure, because you're supposed to look like a tube in kimono. That's the silhouette. So women will often put a pad of material sort of in the small of their back to hide the appearance of like any curves back there. So that's sort of present here. I don't know if that's what's intended, but it's also hilarious because obviously she's a horse, so she doesn't have a butt like that. I'm just gonna call it a kimono, even though it doesn't like really look like one, but that's clearly what it's inspired by in the top area, so that's what I'm gonna call it. There's a lot going on here. So there's like a sleeve right here that's attached to one side. Oh, you can see it better over here. There's a sleeve, and then there's like this big fluffy thing. I really like how big and fluffy it is on this side compared to like the in-game model. But yeah, there's this huge pink bow that's pretty consistent across all of the arts. And then, so let's keep track of this. So how many materials are there? So we've got this white material with gold, so that's one. We've got this, whatever this big huge pink bow is that on the art seems to like have some sort of florally pattern, shiny, so that's two. There's this teal bit, that's three. There's this blue right here with the foil, that is the same blue that is this right here. That's 4. There's this bottom part, which might look like the same pink here, but if you can tell on this one, it's not the same pink. 5. There's the sleeve little bit right here. 6. I think that's it. I think I got it all. 6 different fabrics. And that's not counting the fluffy bit and some dyeing some big huge rope to make these, because these are the same. And then there's like, I think this tie and like this tie are supposed to be the same color. I also want to wait a little bit to do this because I've ordered my first dress form that'll really help with draping this, and also it's just gonna be a lot of fabric shopping to try and find like interesting fabrics and like researching like how to apply like vinyl like appliques, I think, for like this kind of stuff, because I need it to be nice and shiny like this. Yeah, so that's the thing. So this kimono is the 4th part of this costume. This will be an entire video on its own. Right, so the second to last thing is the staff. I really want to make this. I haven't really made a big prop like this in a long time, but I'm super excited to learn. It's like a pretty simple shape. I have a really good idea of how I'm gonna get it done, and I really have a good idea to include like a small smoke machine into this area to get a cool effect with like this purple smoke. It looks really cool over here too. So yeah, so that, oh, I have to buy this fabric too. Okay, well, so the staff is number 5. And then the last part of this video will be part 6, which will just be doing the makeup look, because she does have like, especially in this photo, in the splash art, which I think is the most beautiful version of this, she has really big eyelashes, like big chunky eyelashes. So yeah, so that'll be just doing the makeup look and putting the whole costume on, and hopefully documenting a photo shoot of some kind, because I'm not probably going to be going to a convention in this anytime soon because of the state of everything, so I'd like to get a nice photo shoot either in a studio or on location somewhere or something. Yeah, so that's where we're at with this. This is quite a lot of things. It's a gigantic costume. I've been doing so much research to figure out how to do every part of this, and I've already learned so much. I'm aiming to have this done by the end of the year because this is supposed to get me to practice self-motivation, so hopefully I can upload a part like every 2 weeks, maybe. It sort of depends on when like materials can arrive and such, but I want to keep myself on a schedule because that's sort of the point of taking on such a big project. I don't want to rush too much because I want to actually enjoy this process and learn, but I also don't want to just push it off until every single other person and their mother has done this cosplay better than me. So that means there will be roughly 6 parts to this series after this introduction video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you will stick around for this series, and I hope you will learn alongside me or just look forward to seeing me struggle and learn through this entire process. I will see you next time.